All right. Whoops. I forgot to hit the brand. Here we go.
Let's hit party on Broad.
And the Sixers win it! Wow!
Oh, man, and being just posterized Russell Westbrook.
You love the Philadelphia Eagles! Let me get a hell yeah!
What is up, everybody? Party on Broad. Dude, we are nearly 1 week away from the NFL draft. Today, we are doing a full first-round mock draft with trades. We're going to go one by one. We're going to give our selections. We're going to use the draftnetwork.com's mock simulator. But everyone here has a team. No one here knows who they're picking. We're going to be doing trades. If you guys are watching, please be sure to comment. Please be sure to trash talk. Please be sure to grade all of our picks. Does it make sense? Is it completely trash? You let us know. We will respond to all your questions today. And before we get started, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. That being said, we'll do introductions as we kind of roll through this draft. And with the first overall pick is the man, the myth, the legend. He is the voice of the people, Rob Lange at Philly_Madness. Rob, what you going to do? What do you got going on? What's your pick, bro?
Hey, well, first of all, it's nice to be here. Nice to be here for another mock draft. I'm excited. And it was kind of nice to see I got the first pick because what it made me do was zero research for this. I decided to come into this as blank slate as anyone has ever come into this. I'm literally just going to pick as I see the board unfold. So since I get to go first here with Jacksonville, I believe Trevor Lawrence donated, $30,000 to Jacksonville charities after all the wedding gifts he got from Jaguars fans. If Jacksonville does not pick Trevor Lawrence at this point, I swear to you, the organization should have to fold right now. So with the first pick in our draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars will select Trevor Lawrence, quarterback out of Clemson.
Love it. All right, Trevor Lawrence is off the board. Who's up next? Is it me or is it Mark?
Is Dibes. You're up with the Jets at number 2.
I thought it was all right. Trevor Lawrence is up. I got confused with the coloring here. Anyway, I was confused. All right. Anyway, the Jets are on the clock here. We have Matt McGinney saying, based off Mark's Madden history from ages 11 to 15, you will have the worst.
What a wild shot from Jim.
All right, Trevor Lawrence is off the board. I am on the clock, guys. Number 2, New York Jets. Let's go Jets. All right. Obviously, the needs are a quarterback. Now that Sam Darnold is now a member of the Panthers, this one comes down to, I think, Wilson versus Fields. We have, I think, Wilson going to New York really kind of gained some steam over the last week or so, particularly after BYU's pro day. The Jets are truly in a really good situation here. I'm a big fan of Zach Wilson. I'm a big fan of Justin Fields. For me personally, and guys, I'm going to throw a curveball here. I'm going with Justin Fields for the Jets. I think Justin Fields is the better player than Zach Wilson. I like the way he goes through his progressions. I like that Fields has done it against better competition. It wasn't great against good competition, but I just think the Jets are going to roll with a guy with a higher ceiling. Wilson arguably has the best arm talent in this draft. He needs some polishing. He's shown those like Patrick Mahomes kind of flashes, but he also has got some flashes of like Johnny Manziel. So meanwhile, like Justin Fields has kind of been spoken against this entire draft process, and I'm not sure why. You see guys like Zach Wilson, Mac Jones. Are you freaking kidding me? Get all this positive draft talk. So all this positive draft talk going on. Meanwhile, Justin Fields at his pro day, he has the resume, and at his pro day, he runs a 4.4 4.40. You look at Robert Griffin III, ran the fastest 40-yard time a few years ago with a 4.41. You look at Marcus Mariota, 4.52. I'm not buying the Zach Wilson stock. Justin Fields is my pick here for the Jets. And all the analysts and all the experts are like, huh? Justin Fields to the Jets, number 2. Lock it in. I should probably add this to the stream. Here we go.
I was going to say, man, I didn't do any research. I was hoping you were going to put this board up at some point.
All right, hold on.
Did you just click the wrong pick?
I did. I'm going to remove this and then restart it. Go ahead.
At least you did it in like the second pick instead of like pick 15, and then we got to just start it all over.
My bad, guys.
If Justin Fields goes number 2 to the Jets, that'll be the most like epic smoke screen we've ever seen. Especially with the reports, the Eagles were willing to move up to 3, but only for Zach Wilson. And so if you get into a situation where Zach Wilson is on the board at 3, there's going to be a lot of revisiting that Eagles trade down instead of making that move up that Miami made.
There we go, guys. All right. Lawrence and Fields are officially off the board. And that means, Mark, you're up with the Niners.
Yeah, so I would have went with Justin Fields here had you went with Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson's not in my top 23. I have him 24th overall, so I'm not sold on Zach Wilson. He's my 4th-ranked quarterback. So I'm going to go with my 3rd-ranked quarterback, but I have him neck and neck with Justin Fields. I'll go with Trey Lance for the San Francisco 49ers. I think he's got arguably the 2nd highest upside in this draft class. I think he's got a lot of Josh Allen in him. He's honestly a little bit more accurate and honestly faster. He's not quite as big as Josh Allen is, but I think Trey Lance's upside is absolutely incredible. And I think that just like Justin Fields, there's been some unfair things that have happened to Justin Fields in this draft process, in my opinion, that things have seemed to go Zach Wilson and Mac Jones' way and not go Justin Fields and Trey Lance's way. I think if Carson Wentz was higher regarded right now in the NFL, and if he would have had the year that he had 2 years ago, even last year, I think Trey Lance might be like the no-brain number 2 pick in this draft. Also, him not being able to play this year really hurt as well. But I just think Trey Lance is the perfect situation. It's the perfect situation for Trey Lance, and I think he's the perfect player for the 49ers to go with a 3. Even if they're sticking with Jimmy G this year, which is what they've said publicly, Trey Lance would be the perfect guy to bring in and mold while Jimmy G plays, or maybe even bring him in halfway through the year once he gets acclimated in such a brand new offense with San Francisco and Shanahan. But I think if you're San Francisco, the reports of Mac Jones here to me are just absolutely insane. Like I'm approaching these picks based on what I would do if I was the GM. So I would not be even thinking about Mac Jones. I think that's crazy. If you're going to trade all the capital that the 49ers did to get up to the number 3 pick, you have to get someone that can really go change your ceiling as a football team. And the only 2 quarterbacks after Trevor Lawrence for me that do that are Justin Fields and Trey Lance because of their mobility as well as being able to be a pocket passer. They're not someone who can't stay in the pocket and throw. So I just think Fields or Lance for San Francisco would be the right move at 3. Hopefully they don't take Mac Jones for their sake.
Yeah, Matt McGinney saying, "Oh man," a Johnny Manziel reference, and of course Shane going Mormon Manziel. All right, there it is. Wow, Zach Wilson has fallen, and that means the Atlanta Falcons are on the clock, and that is Shane's choice. You're on the clock, Shane. Where are you going?
So this is a bad board for the Falcons, and I think the Falcons are in a pretty tricky spot here. They need secondary help, either cornerback or safety. They had a horrible pass defense last year. They were the 5th worst in the league. They gave up more 20-yard passes than any other teams. Another big need for them is the edge position. They had the 2nd fewest pressures from the edge position in the NFL. But it's not a great class at the top at either of those positions. And so then you start to think, okay, let's trade back. Let's trade back. There's teams that want a quarterback. Maybe we can trade back and we can, get some more value. But I think teams are going to be hesitant to trade up to 4 because the Bengals sit at 5. They're not taking a quarterback. They've literally never traded back in a draft. The Dolphins are sitting at 6, and they traded up to 6. So they're taking somebody, and it's not going to be a quarterback. And so if I'm a team that wants a quarterback, I'm sitting there thinking, I don't have to trade to 4. I can just trade to 7. And so I think it's going to be tougher for the Falcons to trade back than people think. And so then you get into, well, do we just take a quarterback? And if you're going to take a quarterback, I think you want that guy to be Trey Lance, who just went off the board, because he's going to need to, you can sit him behind Matt Ryan, who you're committed to for 2 years now. And so forced to pick here because I think teams aren't going to want to trade up. don't want to reach at corner, safety, edge. I think the pick has to be Kyle Pitts. Arthur Smith has heavily utilized tight ends in the past. Now, he has never had a guy of Kyle Pitts' caliber, and maybe he doesn't want or need that. He's made do with tight ends that aren't as good, but he'd be a huge upgrade over Hayden Hurst, who's never had a 600-yard season. I think this is the pick the Falcons don't necessarily want to stand here and make, but I think they're going to be forced to. And so Kyle Pitts is going to be the pick.
Kyle Pitts is off the board. Guys, if you're watching, please be sure to comment. Grade our picks. Let us know how you feel about that selection. With that being said, the Cincinnati Bengals are officially on the clock, and that is Rob.
Yeah, and this pick has obviously gotten all kinds of attention around the league. Look, Cincinnati has two glaring needs. They have many, but offensive tackle and wide receiver are needs that people believe they have. Now, I don't know. I watched Tyler Boyd last year, and I watched and his name's escaping me, the kid from Clemson. T. Higgins, and I said, these two guys are pretty damn good. I mean, they're pretty damn good, and I get it. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, I get the connection, right? Those two guys lit the college football world on fire 2 years ago. It was unbelievable. It was fireworks. Like LSU was as can't miss or must watch college football as any team that I've seen, that I've noticed over the last 10 years. That year with Burrow and Chase and those guys. But did anybody see, Cincinnati just released their new uniforms and they had the big photo shoot. And the one photo is good old Joey B sitting on a throne. And the only thing I can notice in that was this big scar down the middle of his knee from where he got his ACL torn last year because they couldn't protect him. I don't know who was worse, their offensive line or the Eagles last year. So here's the question you have to ask yourself is, Joe Burrow loves Jamar Chase, but Joe Burrow loves playing football. And if you don't get an offensive line, then Joe Burrow's not going to be playing football because he's going to be hurt all the time. You have a guy that people are calling a generational offensive tackle talent in Penei Sewell. And I don't know how, when you've already invested your future in Joe Burrow, you have some solid weapons on the outside already. No, they're not Jamar Chase, but they're solid. How you don't go get that plug and play for the next 10 to 12-year offensive tackle. So for me, the Bengals are going to play it smart here and take Penei Sewell out of Oregon.
All right, Sewell is officially
yes. And
Bengal.
The other reason for this pick is because of the reports that Howie believed Kyle and Jamar Chase would be gone. That's why he traded out of 6. And in no way, shape, or form am I going to let Howie Roseman have any clout or any bit of, see, I told you. So, Howie, you're a dope because you should have been picking Jamar Chase right now. All right, I'm done.
All right, let's roll on to the Miami Dolphins here. Pick number 6. That is Mark. I think the Dolphins have 5 picks in the top 81. I'm just so super jealous about the Dolphins. Mark, you're on the clock, bro.
Yeah, so I'm not going to do what everyone expects here because he's not my number one receiver. So I really truly think Miami has to take a pass catcher here at 6 to help my guy on my jersey, Tua. Al, if they're serious about building forward with Tua, or even just trying to compete this year, they're going to have to give him some weapons. Thankfully, the Dolphins fired Chan Gailey at offensive coordinator, and hopefully they'll actually let Tua run an NFL offense. And the first step to that is doing things that he was familiar with at Alabama. And one of the perfect things to get him to do that would be Devonta Smith. I know not many people are as high on him as I am, but he's the number one receiver in this class for me. I think he's got the highest upside. I think Jamar Chase is more of a sure thing. If you want to make your pick based on who you are more sure is going to be a top 25 to 30 receiver, a Calvin Ridley and Amari Cooper type, in my opinion, that's Jamar Chase. But if you want to take a chance on someone who could, in my opinion, be a top 5 to 7 guy in the league, that's Devonta Smith. And if I'm going to take a receiver, in the top 6 picks or the top 10 picks, wherever that is, even with the Eagles at 12, I want that to be a guy who I think has the upside to be a top 5 to 7 talent. So I'm going with Devonta Smith at 6, even if that is surprising to many. So that leaves Jamar Chase on the board a little bit longer than people would have expected.
Eagles, straight up. Eagles, straight up now.
In case you guys don't know, we are an Eagles-based, Philly-based podcast. So I know, like, all Eagles fans, all of Philadelphia are probably freaking out right now with the Detroit Lions on the clock, and that is me. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, guys, but let's get into it. Number 7, Detroit Lions are officially on the clock. You look, they just signed Jared Goff. You know, I think the Detroit Lions are like one of the true wild cards in this draft. They clearly think that Jared Goff is their starter, but you look at Rashad Perriman, you look at Tyrell Williams in free agency. Both players have injury history. They can stretch the field. However, Jared Goff is more of a kind of that intermediate, short kind of quarterback, kind of playmaker. So I think finding him receivers that can continue to stretch the field is an absolute priority. When I was going into this draft with the Lions pick here, I was talking to Mark because I was thinking something different. I was thinking possibly defense here. But the fact that we have Jared Goff, the fact that, that someone super special, super in terms of making plays downfield is still on this board, I got to just go with Jamar Chase. You know, guys, I've been on the Jamar Chase train since day one, and that's not stopping anytime soon. There's so much to like about Jamar. He's big, he's fast, he's strong, he's a great route runner, he's fantastic at the catch point, he's a good run blocker. The fact that he's only 20 years old and he won't be 27, he wouldn't even be 27 years old by the time his rookie contract expires is truly the icing on the cake. I'm going Detroit Lions select Jamar Chase, and they're doing backflips there in Detroit. Great selection there for Jared Goff.
And Eagles fans are breaking shit right now. That's what's happening. And at least in my – like, I'll feel bad for whoever the number 12 pick is at this point, because if Jamar Chase was there at the Eagles' original pick, I don't know if I could be happy any other way. I just don't think I can.
100%. All right, that means we are now at the Carolina Panthers, and that is Shane.
So the Panthers are sick right now because quarterback was what they wanted until the 49ers traded up to 3. And they figured the top 4 quarterbacks are all going to be gone. They traded for Sam Darnold. They picked up his 5th-year option. He's the guy for 2 years now. And you're sitting here with Zach Wilson, who is QB2, QB3 on most people's board, and he's here, and he's there for you at 8. And so the Panthers are sick about that. But the Panthers are going to turn around and look at Denver and say, you know what? We probably screwed this up. We would like to take him, but we really can't. We'd like to get a little bit of capital back. And so, Denver, we know that you really want a quarterback. So, Denver, what are you going to give us to swap spots with us and go get your boy Zach Wilson? So, who is the Broncos?
I am. What do you think? What do you think? I'm the Chicago Bears over here? I'm just going to get you capital. I know you just traded for Sam Darnold. I'm John Elway sitting in the booth going, go ahead. I dare you to draft Zach Wilson and have that issue in your locker room. You have to pay me to swap with you is what I'm saying if I'm Denver. Because if I'm Denver, I'm looking at this, and the only thing that I'm afraid of is old Bill Belichick out in New England. So from that
Which is my next call.
So from that stance, if I'm Denver, I'm sitting there going, okay, do I make this move to secure this quarterback position? Do I hold off? And, I got a couple other needs. But I'm going to play along, Shane. I'm going to play along here. And I don't even know what, the Broncos have in terms of later round picks. But I'm not giving you the Chicago Bears bundle. I might, I'd probably throw you.
I want your second in 2022.
You want my second in 2022.
Next year's second round pick. Switch me
That's
spots,
funny.
you get your quarterback.
So that's all. That's all. You just switch spots and get my second in 2022.
Yep, gives me back my biggest piece that I spent in the Darnold deal. In case
That's the
Darnold
bet.
doesn't work out,
And
you
listen,
get your
Bears
quarterback.
bet.
I get a
That's the
pick
bet.
next year.
yeah, and listen, John Elway has not been able to solidify this spot since the retirement of Peyton Manning. And Elway wants to do that. So I think I don't have to give up any capital this year. I could fill some of the other holes this year. And I'm going to get my quarterback of the future that, as Shane said, a lot of people have as a second-rated quarterback in this draft. So I'm going to go ahead, Shane, because I don't trust Bill Belichick, and I'm going to give you that second rounder next year because I want this QB now.
Oh, wait. Hold on. All right. That's what's going on. Here, pick
I
one.
think that's a deal that both teams would be happy with.
Yes.
Carolina is getting the quarterback in the opposite division. They're getting back their pick next year they gave up for Darnold. I mean, they gave up a fourth next year too, but they get their second back. They slide back one spot, and I know I'm still going to get who I really want to take here. So,
yeah.
All right, just to confirm, the Panthers are trading 8 to the Broncos for 9 and a 2022 second-round pick. Is that correct?
That is correct.
and it's approved.
And then before Shane makes a pick, I think Dallas might be on line one for Shane with the 9th pick after Denver takes Zach Wilson.
All right, where are you going, Rob?
All right, so Denver does this for no other reason than to get Zach Wilson and John Elway, and I think Denver are thrilled. I've talked to some people who really followed, college football this past year, and they just think Zach Wilson is a stud, man. They just think this kid has it. And I think finally Denver can solidify a position that they've struggled to solidify since they won the Super Bowl those years ago with Peyton Manning.
All right, Shane, you are on the board now with the Carolina Panthers, but we're seeing on Twitter, like Schefter's reporting that there's some buzz going around. So here we go, Shane, you're up.
All right, my phone's ringing. I'm not picking it up. I think Dallas was calling me about something.
What would it take to move down one spot again for Carolina?
Oh, make me an offer.
I was thinking a 2022 third round pick because I don't think there's Belichick on the other line. I'm just making sure I get my player so you don't take him.
Yeah. What side of the ball are you going? Offense.
Oh, that might be confidential. But I think you can infer we're the Dallas Cowboys. I think you can infer what we need.
Yeah, another wide receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to turn that down.
Oh,
man.
no.
Being a little cagey, I gotta make sure I get what I want. I already picked up an extra pick.
Eagles fans are doing backflips right now. Let's
If you can tell me who you're after and it's not my guy, I'm happy to do it. But
I guess I might as well, just because if I don't, you're taking him anyway or whatever. It's Surtain. I'm trying to move up to take Surtain.
All right, we can do that. I'll do that. I'll move back a spot. You give me your third, and you can take any defensive player you want, and I'm happy.
All right, let's do it.
All right, here we go. Hold on, I got to do the trade. All right, so we have Carolina trading with the Dallas Cowboys.
Matt Rule knows better than the trade with the Dallas Cowboys, but whatever.
Carolina keeps just moving one pick back.
Yeah.
This is one pick at a time.
Carolina fans are going to get to a point where they're like, just pick somebody. I don't care who.
Trade is approved, and the Dallas Cowboys are officially on the clock here. You're up, Mark.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys have a very clear number one need, which is cornerback. Tight end is a need that is only really addressable to them if Kyle Pitts were to fall. And that was kind of what I was thinking with Dobbs. If he stayed at 7, if the Lions were around and Kyle Pitts was available, that was going to be someone I moved up for. If worse comes to worse, I think they could beef up their O-line or their D-line if say, Pitts and Surtain are gone at 10 if they want to take an edge rusher or an O-lineman. because that used to be two advantages for the Cowboys against a lot of teams, and it's certainly fallen off in recent years due to injuries and retirements and a lot of things. And but I got to go Patrick Surtain. I think he's one of the safest players in this draft. And I think if Dallas locks in Surtain, that is going to be frustrating for us Eagles fans for years to come, because I think he's going to be an extremely solid player right away, day one, just a starting cornerback as soon as he walks into the facility.
All right, Surtain to the Cowboys. I love that selection for the Cowboys. And that means the Carolina Panthers are up again. You're up, Shane.
So the Panthers are going to call the Giants. No, I'm just kidding.
We're good. I got the Giants. We're hanging out, man. We're going to just chill because I know exactly where you're going.
So, like I said, quarterback would have been the play if they hadn't made the move for Darnold. He's their guy for 2 years now, but in this scenario, they pick up a second and a third round pick next year to slide back. And, they could look at wide receiver. Curtis Samuel is gone, but Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore both had 1,000-yard seasons last year. I don't think wide receiver is their biggest need, but you've got Jalen Waddle sitting there. He's my wide receiver one. He's a guy that turns short passes into huge gains, which is a big thing for a quarterback like Darnold that simply isn't that good. And so he can make a guy look a lot better than he is. But you've also got cornerback and offensive tackle, which I think are the biggest needs. Dante Jackson and Troy Pride Jr. aren't an inspiring cornerback duo. And you look at offensive tackle, Greg Little, they took him in the second round 2 years ago, and he really just hasn't worked out for the Panthers. So you could make an argument to take Waddle as a value pick. You could make an argument to have stood and taken Patrick Surtain as a cornerback need. But the guy I really want to look at, I'm going to take Rashawn Slater, and I'm going to slide him over there. I'm going to upgrade Greg Little, give Darnold some more help at the offensive line position. And if Darnold doesn't work out, feel pretty confident that I've got a long-term anchor for my offensive line for whoever's the next quarterback. So Rashawn Slater is going to be the pick at 10 for the Panthers.
Rashawn Slater is officially off the board there. All right, so I am on the clock here, guys. I've got the New York Giants. Sorry, guys. I know we're a Philly-based podcast here. I don't know who has the Eagles pick here, but the fact that Jalen Waddle is still on the board for the New York Giants is absolutely crazy. It is absolutely crazy. I don't know how the Giants do not take Waddle in this scenario. Actually, I was looking at Rashawn Slater. That was my guy for the New York Giants. I like Rashawn Slater's ceiling as a left tackle. Clearly, offensive line is the biggest liability for the New York Giants at this time. They selected Andrew Thomas with the number 4 overall pick in the draft last year. He's a little bit underwhelming. He had a block rate of 5.8%. He had a blown block rate of 5.8%, which was the highest among tackles with 300 more snaps. So clearly, I love Rashawn Slater. I love his ceiling. I love his potential. That was going to be my guy, to be honest. But you look at another target like Elijah Vera Tucker, who I'm a big fan of. At this selection, though, at number 11, you can't pass on a true number 1 wide receiver. I'm going to give Daniel Jones the playmaker he needs, a number 1 wide receiver, a guy that can play outside and stretch the field so fast. Jalen Waddle is the pick here for the New York Giants, and I know all my Eagles friends are just about to just storm, knock down my door here and kill me because that is a selection for the New York Giants. Jalen Waddle to the New York Giants.
I just want to say, if the Miami Dolphins select Devonta Smith with the pick we gave them, the Cowboys then select Surtain, and then the Giants select Waddle directly before we pick, I might have an aneurysm. Oh my God.
I want to, I kind of been curious about this because a lot of people are saying that a need for the Giants is the wide receiver position. What does that say when they just gave Kenny Golladay all that money to come in? They have a couple young guys in the fold. Does any of that matter if they can't protect Daniel Jones? And that's why I got to think, a guy that comes from the Patriots, right, in Joe Judge, knows that the game is in between the trenches and that it doesn't matter what you have on the outside if your trenches suck. That's why I think at the end of the day, are we all mocking the Giants to pick a receiver because, it's Jalen Waddle? I would not be surprised, and I would be thrilled if the Giants went. I don't know if they go, Vera Tucker. If they draft an offensive tackle, I guess Darrisaw from Virginia Tech is still out there on the board. I know it's a little early for him, but I wonder. I really wonder about the Giants drafting a wide. If once again, are the Giants using their draft capital to the best of their ability by doing that? That's the question that I ask.
You look. They signed Kenny Galladay. They have Sterling Shepard. They have Darius Slayton. Now they add Jalen Waddle. And you look at the future of the Eagles cornerbacks, and they're like, your move, Philadelphia. You're up at number 12. So who's up now? Who's up now with the number 12 pick?
I am. On the Giants, I feel like they're a dark horse for the first spot that an edge comes off the board. I think you could maybe see that. Dave Gettleman's that old school games won in the trenches type of guy. Their edges are not very good. I could see them looking at an edge, whether they like Jalen Phillips or Kwity Paye. I could also see them looking at a receiver, especially if a guy like Waddle is still there, just because they got to find out by the end of this year, is Daniel Jones the guy? And so you might as well eliminate any excuses and put him out there. So I don't think wide receiver is unrealistic for them. I could see them also looking at interior offensive line or edge as well, though. Okay, right. So I'm on the clock for the Eagles here. Hold on, I got to put in your pick. Okay, I'm on the clock for the Eagles, and I'm picking up the phone, and I'm calling the Patriots, which is you, Dives, and I'm saying, hey, Bill, I know you guys need a quarterback. And I don't know if you know anybody that's got experience working with a technically sound white guy who can't move out of the pocket and has no athleticism but's really accurate. I don't know if you know anybody that's ever worked with a quarterback like that before. But if you do, there's one on the board, and you could come up 3 spots here. You can get your quarterback. What do you think? You interested?
The question is, do other teams attempt to trade up for him at this spot? Do the Bears think about it? That's the fear. That's the fear heading into this area. And I am absolutely listening to that phone call. What are you offering?
So I'll give you pick 12. You're going to give me pick 15 in your first round next year. And I will throw you back my 4th rounder next year.
Yeah, we're not going to give you a first rounder next year. That is not 100% not happening. I'll give you a 2nd rounder next year.
Okay, so you'll give me pick 15, 2nd rounder next year.
Yep.
And let's see.
We have to do the trade. Hold on. Let me do the trade.
Oh, yeah. You got to pull it up here.
Yeah. Hold on. All right, let's go. Whoops, AFC. Wait, no.
AFC.
By the way, I'm punching Howie Roseman in the face on this maneuver.
You think so?
Yeah, listen. You don't need 100 picks next year. Just make a damn pick.
That's the problem, Rob. They're not looking at this year.
It's not but you have to pick guys. You have to do it. That's what I don't understand. Like this. Oh, well, just wait till next year. Why? So he could F that up too?
I want your 5th next year too, and you got a deal.
All right, that seems to be a lot. So I'm going to disagree with that trade because I don't think you have the balls to take Mac Jones. So I'm going to disagree with that. I will give you. Hold on, let me go back to 21. I will give you a 3rd round pick. Oh, I'm down here. I'll give you a 4th. No, my gosh. Patriots really want to trade up here, according to the Draft Network.
I'm telling you, they want it.
All right, I'll give you a 3rd round pick.
Wait, so you told me not a 5th next, but you'll give me a 3rd this?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the other side. I'll give you a third this year because I was disrespected by your offer.
Oh, so you're saying instead of giving me the second next?
Yeah,
I
kind of went a little bit overboard there. You went a little bit.
Get out of here. I'll call the Bears instead.
All right.
All right. So where's the Bears at here? Bears.
Is there a 10-minute time limit? Is there a 10-minute time limit on the first round?
Bears is me. Bears is me. This is the easy negotiation. Bears, you're going to give me your first this year, your first next year, and a fourth.
Are we allowed to
pick
do
12.
this?
And the Bears, according to the Draft Network, are going to sprint to the podium to do that. So let's make the offer here.
Wait a minute. Why do the Eagles need 17 first-round picks next year?
All right.
Next draft's going to be fun, Rob.
I gotta say, as an Eagles fan, I like the idea of moving 12 to 15, especially if J.C. Horn is the target, because I think Arizona would take Horn at 16. But I do not like the idea of moving all the way back to 20. But if you're getting a first-round pick, I understand.
Understand that they blew the season last year to just save Howie Roseman's ass. Because Howie Roseman will say, oh, by the way, I got us all these picks. You got to let me take them next year. So Howie's going nowhere because of this stupid shit.
All right. Am I getting this right? So you want to switch the Eagles trade 12 to 20 and you get the Bears number 1 pick next year?
Yeah.
All right.
Wow, that really says unlikely because the Bears would do that in a heartbeat.
Says sorry.
All right. Well, screw them all. Okay. So I'll scrap my idea I had for a trade back then, and we're going to take J.C. Horn.
Okay.
Eagles need a cornerback. If a quarterback is there, there's absolutely no chance the Bears wouldn't trade up for him. They're in quarterback hell, and they have been for years. But that's okay. We'll take J.C. Horn. I've got questions about Horn, but at the end of the day, the Eagles desperately need cornerback help. There is not an offensive weapon that's worth taking at 12 with the 3 receivers and Kyle Pitts off the board. So it's always going to be cornerback here for me. J.C. Horn's going to be the guy.
All right. That means the Chargers are on the clock, and that is Rob.
I got to tell you, I fell out of the fact that I was actually supposed to be making a pick and turned total Eagles fan there and just got so irate that I need to collect myself to make this.
All right, Rob. I'll take the pressure off you. Are you thinking about trade down here a little bit?
Yeah, I mean,
Patriots.
Yeah, the Chargers have a lot of needs. I mean, look, Mac Jones fell one more pick, Patriots, but he may not fall again. Well, he's going to fall past me. I don't think Los Angeles is taking a quarterback, but Patriots, you've given me a call. What do you got to offer me to move up a couple slots here?
Sure. Let's take a look at the draft board here. Let's make a trade. Where are the Chargers at? Where are the Chargers? Chargers with the Patriots just to secure. Am I missing it? There it is. All right. We're moving up 2 picks here. I'll give you a third round pick.
Yeah, if I'm the Chargers, because I have a few different needs, but by backing up 2, I'm still going to be able to address one of those needs, and I'm going to add a 3rd-round pick, which in this draft we know that 2nd and 3rd round could be very, very important to teams. So I'll take the deal. Bill, come up and get your, quarterback that can't move, and you'll win 37 Super Bowls with them, and enjoy that.
All right. That means the New England Patriots are moving up to the 13th pick. I think everyone saw this. The Tom Brady shenanigans is going to be out the wazoo during this draft. You're going to hear the Mac Jones, Tom Brady comparison over and over and over again. He's got that kind of Brady physique. He's got elite accuracy. I'm talking about Mac Jones. He's got really good decision-making. He's got that ability to kind of diagnose a defense. He's got really good ability to process after the snap. So this is a no-brainer. Mac Jones working with Josh McDaniels, this game manager quarterback. He's got really good pocket awareness. He's got great accuracy, as I said. He's got great touch. You got Cam Newton in the fold. You got some shiny new toys on offense. I think New England bringing in Mac Jones for a 3rd-round pick here and securing your guy and letting Mac Jones kind of learn a year or two under this offense and is a no-brainer. So the New England Patriots are making it official. Mac Jones at pick number 13, which means the Minnesota Vikings are on the clock, and that is Mark.
Yep. I'm actually not going to go best player available here. I'm going to if anyone wants to make a move up, you can let me know. But I'm actually going to move down my list a little bit. I'm going to wait. I'll give it a second. Is the phone ringing? No one wants to move up?
No, not right now.
No.
Okay. So, there's not – this didn't fall that great for the Vikings. They're in a weird spot of needing to rebuild in a lot of areas, being really old in a lot of areas. They've cut a lot of people on their defense this offseason. So they're also pretty elite in some areas. So it's not a full rebuild. They still want to compete. So it's a weird situation. It's hard to determine their biggest need between cornerback, safety, offensive line, edge rusher, even if you would have wanted to say quarterback for the future if someone would have fell. But I'm going to go down my list to the fourth best player available and go with Elijah Vera Tucker.
Nice.
Out of USC, just because Minnesota has needs all over that offensive line, and he's a player that can fit in multiple spots on that offensive line. And he's not even my best offensive lineman available, but he's the only one who can bounce inside, which is something Minnesota desperately needs. Kirk Cousins did not play great when the offensive line was not performing towards the end of last year and when a lot of the guys were hurt and out due to injury. So that's a big pick for Minnesota to shore up their offensive line with Elijah Vera Tucker.
Very nice. Very nice. All right, that means the Chargers are on the clock. Who's got the Chargers, guys?
I do. And the Chargers are happy because the two guys they were looking at are both still sitting there. But look, they saw last year that they have a young quarterback who has some promise. Once again, very similar to what I was talking about with Cincinnati earlier tonight. They got to protect him. They got to make sure he's protected. So solidifying an offensive line in front of that guy is a good idea. And why not get a guy that plays with this temperament of just being a dog? He's big. He's scheme-proof. And that would be the offensive tackle out of Virginia Tech, Christian Darrisaw. So they start to build that lineup around Herbert, and I think that's a good move for the Los Angeles Chargers going forward here.
All right, San Diego Chargers go offensive tackle. That means the Cardinals are on the board here. They are on the clock, and that is Shane. So the Washington football team is giving you a call, Shane, right now. Now. Are you listening?
I'll listen. What do you got?
The Washington football team have a clear need. I will offer you from 19 to 16. Let's look at our mock trade here. Let's go to the trade machine. Cardinals. We are going with Washington. We're going to move up one, and I'll give you. Oh, we don't even have a third or fourth. Oh wait, that's hard. We have a third. We have 2 third rounders. Which of those look really interesting to you?
Well, I mean, obviously, the earlier the better, right?
All right, you got it. Trade accepted.
I'll do that. Gives me another pick in those mid rounds because I'm missing a third and a fourth. Slide back a couple spots. I'm good with that.
All right, we are moving up here.
Is Washington going to ruin my night?
Washington, the deal has been accepted. Washington is on the clock here. I think this is a no-brainer for the Washington football team. The guy I have circled on my big board here is Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State. You look at during his junior season, he started games at right tackle, left tackle. He's got a ton of versatility. He opted out of the 2020 season because of an injury, but he still played well enough to be named All Big 12. And he got invited to the Senior Bowl. He needs development for Washington. He's going to get that in his rookie year. But that's what I think that the big takeaway with Tevin Jenkins is his versatility. He could be, an eventual replacement at tackle, either tackle spots. He could be an eventual replacement as a premier guard at the next level. Tevin Jenkins is a really good player. He plays with a nastiness. He's a mauler. This is a really good pick here for the Washington football team. I'm going to make it official here. Jenkins is off the board, and that means Oakland. The Raiders are on the clock. Friend, that is Rob.
Look, the Raiders need people everywhere, including I think that they need a brain somewhere in their organization, not to mention on their social media team after their little gaffe today. That's besides the point. And they're really in a position because they need so many things that they can look at, all right, who's the best player available on my board? And it just so happens to be at what I think is a big position of need for them, which is linebacker. I know that people have concerns about this guy's off the field stuff, but on the field, until he opted out, he was a damn beast at Penn State. He's just a playmaker. And my guess is John Gruden and Mike Mayock are going to see this name and say, look, it's a position of need. He's probably the best player available on our board right now. And they'll run up and they will pick Micah Parsons, linebacker from Penn State, with this pick.
Micah Parsons is off the – I know, like, my friend who played high school football, he's a diehard Raiders fan. He was a linebacker. He's a really good one too. He's linebacker school, like linebacker academy. He wants a linebacker for the Raiders so bad. He would be doing backflips with this selection. Let's make it official. Micah Parsons is off the board here with the Raiders. We have a comment. We have a comment here saying, I am Bear, saying Cardinals fans would love that trade that just went down. So the Cardinals picked up an extra third, and the Washington football team moved up to add a tackle. I think the Washington football team, me personally, was a little afraid of the run of offensive linemen. That's where that trade came in. So let's go to the Miami Dolphins, and that means Mark is on the clock.
Yep, we're making our second pick of the night here at 18. We took care of our biggest need at wide receiver at 6 with Devonta Smith, and we're going with another one of my favorite players in the draft. You're going to have to scroll a long way there, Dives, all the way down to like 51 or 53. Miami needs an edge rusher, and my favorite edge rusher in this draft is from Miami, and he's staying in Miami. It's Gregory Russo. He's 6'7". You cannot teach that. He's an absolute freak. He only had 1 year that he played in college, and it was at elite high-level production with 15.5 sacks, 54 tackles. He is just an absolute beast athletically, and I think that's something that's going to translate to the NFL. I think he's a Jason Pierre-Paul clone. I think they're a very similar type of player. It's a very similar type of prospect. Both late bloomers, both started playing football like late in high school, junior, senior year. They were basketball players that turned into football players. Gregory Russo still has 10 fingers. He's still got all of his fingers intact. So I think he's going to be Jason Pierre-Paul. I'm so sure of this. Like I am the biggest Gregory Russo guy I've seen. So for me, getting him at 18 for someone who I have ranked 10 overall would be an absolute steal. I really thought about taking him at 14 with the Vikings, who do need an edge rusher, but I just thought that their O-line need was bigger than their edge rusher need. And I think if I was a Dolphins fan personally walking away with Devonta Smith and Gregory Russo, I'd be hyped because Dives has done too many mock drafts with me as an Eagles fan that I've done that at 12 and 37. And that would, for any team, I think that would be a phenomenal start. And with Miami, they need a lot of help in the front seven. They made a lot of changes in this offseason to their scheme, and they lost Kyle Van Noy. So that Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah and Micah Parsons would both be guys that I would consider in that area as well. Parsons is off the board, but I'm very happy with Russo at 18 there.
All right, Russo is off the board. We have I Am Bear giving a little advice to Shane here, who has back-to-back picks here with the Cardinals and Bears. But I Am Bear says Farley, Harris, or Bateman at number 19 for the Arizona Cardinals. Shane, you're on the clock, bro.
So the Cardinals could go some different ways with this. They could look at linebacker. Jordan Hicks is in a contract year. Linebacker could be in play. That's a position they could look to upgrade. Would have heavily considered Parsons if he was still there, but he goes off the board just a couple picks before. Another need would be interior offensive line. If Elijah Vera Tucker had made it, we wouldn't have traded back. That would have been the pick easily. They could also look at wide receiver. AJ Green, he's kind of on the last fumes of his career. But there's no denying the biggest need for the Cardinals is cornerback. Patrick Peterson and Dre Kirkpatrick are both gone. Caleb Farley is sitting on the board. There was serious discussion about Caleb Farley as CB1 prior to the back surgery. Obviously, teams will be in a position to know if his medicals check out. I'm going to draft on the assumption that they do because that's all I can do. So Caleb Farley is going to be the pick, and the Cardinals at pick, whatever we're at now, 19, get the highest upside defensive player in the draft. If he can stay healthy, he's going to be a star cornerback for them.
Okay.
And so shout out to I Am Bear. He did accurately predict the pick. And so now we're sitting here with the Bears. So for the Bears – oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Jets are calling. Right now.
Okay.
Jets are number 23 here. And they got a lot of picks here. They got a lot of day 2 picks here. And they're thinking about moving up. Are you answering that phone call?
I'll always answer the phone. What you got for me?
All right. Let's look into a trade potentially with the Chicago Bears and New York Jets. Give me a second while I bring it up. All right. So we're looking to move up a few spots. The New York Jets. I'll offer you again a 3rd round pick. They won't even accept that. Wow. Draft Network does not want to do this. So that being said, you're up, man.
Okay. Well, we would have taken a 3rd round pick, but Draft Network says they won't. So I know they've got coded in like teams' tendencies. Like Dave Gettleman's literally never traded back. You could offer your whole draft to the Giants and they won't move back. So I wonder if that's the case for the Bears. I'm honestly not sure.
I don't know.
But so quarterback is out of the picture because we were stupid and we weren't willing to send next year's first to go get our guy. Wide receiver is an option here. Andy Dalton was bad in Dallas with all their weapons. A wide receiver is not going to make him better, and he's not your solution. So if you can't get a quarterback this year, you might as well build the infrastructure for another quarterback in 2022. And so I think you're either looking at wide receiver, maybe you're looking at offensive line. Scroll down a little bit for me. I don't remember what all offensive line's off the board right now. I know it's a lot of them. Okay, Leatherwood's there. Dickerson's there. Okay. I'm not loving the value of not loving the value of the offensive lineman right there. So we're going to stay where we're at. We're going to take Rashad Bateman, and we're going to give a receiver to Andy Dalton. We're going to let him grow for a year. So we're not, hopefully we've got somebody there when we get a quarterback in 2022. If we ever get one, we've got a receiver for him to throw to. So Rashad Bateman is going to be the pick for the Bears.
All right. Rashad Bateman is off the board. The Colts are on the clock, and that is Rob.
Yeah, the Colts are devastated right now because the Colts really wanted to get some more weapons for Carson Wentz. You got T.Y. Hilton, who's older. You have Michael Pittman, who's a young guy. But they kind of thought Rashad Bateman would be a great other weapon to give to a guy like Carson Wentz, a quarterback who needs to rebuild his confidence and is going to need a lot of weapons. So that one hurt a little bit. So the Colts are probably going to wait a few minutes and see if there's anybody who wants to trade up because they're in a weird spot. A couple of their positions in need, they probably don't want to draft this high. It would be a bit of a stretch. So, they don't know if there's any second-round teams that are looking to trade back. They've got a call. What's this call?
Hello. This is the general manager of the New York Jets. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Joe. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
Just great. Just great. What can I do for you?
Yeah, I'm trying to look into trading up into that potential spot there at pick 21. Are you interested in possibly moving down a little bit?
I am interested in moving down a little bit. What can you offer me?
All right. Let me look into this right now. Let me look into this real quick. Let's go Jets, Colts. I'll trade up a couple of spots here, and I'll give you a 4th-round pick. How's that sound?
That's great, but did you just click on the Colts 4th-round pick?
Whoops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's not cool.
You mean the Colts don't want to give up a 4th-round pick to move back 2 spots?
So the Jets clearly, or the Colts clearly do not want to trade back, according to the Draft Network. So
guess what? I disagree.
Maybe the Jets don't want to trade up.
All right, let's try. Let's see what happens. I'll give you a 3rd-round pick for a couple spots to trade up. Sorry, the Jets. The Colts refused. So you're on the clock, bro.
The last time the Jets traded up in the 1st round, they drafted Sam Darnold. Maybe they were scarred by that for life.
Maybe that's what it is.
You very well can be. And
was that with the Colts too? That was with the Colts, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yes, it
There you
was.
go.
So as I kind of look at this board here, and my eyes are going, but I'm looking, and two positions I think that the Colts need to address, one on defense at the corner position and one on offense at that offensive tackle position. And we know Carson Wentz needs some protection. I mean, I think that's literally as clear as day after what we saw last year. But I just don't like the value at this position. And even at the cornerback, I feel like I'm going to reach a little bit, but I'm willing to do it. You got a guy who's kind of risen up the scale here a little bit pretty quickly out of Northwestern. And I could see the Colts going corner here, and I could see him probably reaching a little bit. But I see Greg Newsome becoming an Indianapolis Colt with the way the board has fallen.
All right, Greg Newsome is off the board there to the Indianapolis Colts, and the Titans are on the clock, which is Mark.
Yep. So I'm going to take someone that earlier in this draft process for the Titans would have been considered a bit of a reach or at anyone at this point. But he really has seemed to have risen throughout this draft process. And it's someone that I know Dives likes a lot. So I'm stealing him from a couple of his teams. But I'm going with Trevon Moehrig for the Tennessee Titans. I think he's the perfect fit. They pretty much got rid of their entire secondary. So while the notion might be, we got to go get a corner, the top 4 corners are off the board. And even if they weren't, I have Trevon Moehrig as my second best D-back overall. I just think he's such a sure thing. He's a good tackler. He can cover. He just has it all. He might not be elite at anything, but I think he's a jack of all trades, and he's going to step in right away like Jeremy Chin did last year for Carolina. And I think he's going to be a productive safety right away. And I think he would go a long way to fix that secondary for Tennessee. Tennessee had a lot of expectations going into last year, and I think a lot of the reason that they didn't reach those expectations were because of their secondary. And I think that was a big part of the reason they lost in the playoffs. So I think that's something they're going to want to fix, and I think picking Trevon Moehrig would go a long way.
Trevon Moehrig, my man, is off the board. I had him circled for another team down the road, but you stole him from me, Mark. Great selection there, which means I am on the clock here with the New York Jets. My guy fell. I'm really happy. Look at the New York Jets. They got their quarterback of the future there in the top number 2 pick here. What do they need next? I think it's pretty clear. They need front 7 help, defensive line, linebacker. They need someone that can rush the passer. And I think in terms of pure, best player available, most athletic, biggest, highest ceiling kind of guy at pick number 23, I'm ecstatic to announce that the New York Jets are going to select Zaven Collins, linebacker. This guy is 6'4", 260. He can play 4-3 defensive end. He can play linebacker in space. Super, super athlete. He was a former quarterback from Tulsa. This guy shot up the draft boards lately. 53 tackles, 11.5 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, 4 interceptions, 2 pass breakups. in his junior year. This guy is just a playmaker, an absolute playmaker. We have Justin Fields, a just pure playmaker at the quarterback position. Now we're adding another playmaker on the other side of the football with Zaven Collins, just going to be a disruptor, just cause chaos there for that Jets defense. This is a great selection and a home run first round for the New York Jets. I'm going to make it official here. That was who I wanted to trade up as well, which means the Pittsburgh Steelers are on the clock, and
that's me.
That is Shane.
Okay, so that worked out good for you, not trading up. So the Steelers are on the clock. It really feels like if you look at mock draft stuff, everybody's sure Lawrence is going 1. Everybody's sure that Zach Wilson's going 2. And the next pick that everybody's sure about is pick 24, where Najee Harris goes off the board every single time for the Steelers.
Yeah.
Steelers fans like to talk about how bad their running game was in 2020. But I'm not so sure that that's all the running back's fault. I mean, you look at their offensive line's run blocking rankings. Starting in 2016, they were the 4th best run blocking team in the league. Then they dropped to 7th, then 12th, then 23rd, then 31st last year. Not to mention running back is a luxury pick that you make if you just won the Super Bowl, not a pick you make with a quarterback on his last legs on a roster that's headed towards rebuilding. And so I think running back would be a terrible call for the Steelers here. I think you need to start preparing for life post Ben Roethlisberger. And the fact of the matter is the reason you're running the ball so much right now is because Ben just doesn't have it anymore. And so offensive line is a position of need. It's going to help you in the short term. It's going to help you in the long term when you do look to that quarterback. And so we're going to scroll down the board here, and we're going to take offensive tackle Samuel Cosmi from Texas. Cosmi's kind of shot up draft boards. He's very, very athletic. He's played both left tackle and right tackle in college for the Longhorns. I'm looking at him to be my left tackle. Their current left tackle, I can't say his name, Okorafor. I don't know what his first name is. He's on the last year of his rookie deal. I'm going to see if Cosmi can take that job from him. He could play either side of the ball, but I want him to be my left tackle of the future. So Samuel Cosmi at 24 to the Steelers.
Awesome pick. All right, let's roll on to the Jaguars. Number 25 here, and that is Rob.
Okay, so the Jaguars have some needs, but the Jaguars are going to make a phone call to a second-round team right now. And there's a couple teams in that second round that you look at and you say, you know, there are some wide receiver needy teams, and there's a couple guys on the board. Maybe a team wants to jump back into the first round at this point. And he's going to give the Eagles a call. Okay, Jacksonville's going to give the Eagles a call and see, and they may not. You know, they may just want to stay where they are. Maybe Howie just wants 37 more first-round picks so he can keep his job next year. But is there any interest from the Philadelphia Eagles in trading up to this 25th spot is the question at hand right now.
So do I play the Eagles again?
Yeah, I would imagine you're the Eagles, Shane.
Okay.
We didn't think this through, but you're on the clock.
Yeah, well, I wasn't anticipating trading out of a first round or something. Let me see.
Should we look at a potential trade?
Yeah, so in real life, the Eagles would love to trade back up here and take Jalen Phillips, if we're being honest. But, yeah, you can pull it up here.
All right, here we go.
So Bateman is gone. That leaves us at wide receiver with Terrence Marshall. He'd be a great pick for him here.
Yeah, Jaguars do not want to trade this pick, according to draft now.
It's probably because they have so many seconds and thirds already.
Yeah, it could be. All right. Just a thought. You know, figured to throw it out there, see if anything sticks.
The Dolphins might be calling.
The Dolphins might be calling. Oh, let's hear from the Dolphins.
The Dolphins might be calling. Let's pull up the Dolphins picks here. Let's see if See if there's something we can make happen.
All right, let's see what the Dolphins say.
Just to complete my dream draft.
I wonder who this is. All right, offer. What are you offering?
So I would offer 36, 81, and a fourth next year.
Nope.
If you just want to,
Nope.
if you just want to put it as you in the 2022, since we're agreeing to it, what if you click the first for next year? Would that allow it? I think that's a way to cheat the system. No, doesn't work. Oh man, they're strict.
Jacksonville is hell bent on staying here and probably blowing the pick, as the Jacksonville Jaguars do. Listen, Jacksonville needs a wide receiver, and look, I love Terrence Marshall myself, but Jacksonville doesn't. They seem to always like the scat back guy, right? They like the guy that's shifty, that is interesting. And now they have Urban Meyer who knows how to kind of game plan for guys that may not fit a specific position the way you would generally think they would. So I think Jacksonville is going to stay in state here. And I think they maybe surprise some people. And I think they take Kadarius Toney, the wide receiver from Florida, to pair with Trevor Lawrence. And Urban Meyer used that little bit of the college system that he has to try and create that distinct role for a guy who can be explosive with the ball in his hands.
All right. Toney is off the board, which means the Cleveland Browns are on the clock. And that goes to Mark.
Yeah, so the Browns all offseason have been getting mocked a defensive end or an edge guy until they just signed Jadeveon Clowney. I'm not so sure that they still won't draft an edge guy. Clowney was a short-term commitment for the Browns that they're able to get out of after this year if it doesn't go well, as it seems to with every Jadeveon Clowney team, since it seems like it's like his 9th team in 9 years. But I think that the Browns are still going to be open to taking an edge rusher. But similar to a couple of teams we talked about, the Browns are in a spot where they have a lot of needs that aren't glaring, but they're all kind of the same level. So you can kind of do best player available. In my opinion, the best player available is Jalen Phillips, who's also the best player available on the Draft Network. I know that there's a lot of injury issues, but I'll stick with it, assuming that it all checks out. The other player that I would think about would be Terrace Marshall, but I'm going to stick with it and go with an edge guy and say, we'll let this guy develop while Jadeveon Clowney's still here, and maybe even play him on the other side when Myles Garrett is off. I think that they could play Jadeveon Clowney stand up on outside linebacker as well. So I think Jalen Phillips could fit here, and I think Jalen Phillips would have went way higher had he not had his injury issues at UCLA. But last year he stepped in for Gregory Russo, who opted out at Miami, and he was almost as productive as Russo was the year before. So I think Phillips would be a hell of a value at 26.
All right. Phillips is off the board there for the Cleveland Browns. That means I'm on the clock with the number 27th pick. Jalen Phillips was absolutely on my board here for the Baltimore Ravens. So was Trevon Merrick there for the Tennessee Titans. I was hoping he would fall because having Trevon Merrick as a safety for the Baltimore Ravens would be like the next Ed Reed. Like that's how high I am on that kid. He's just a leader of men. So anyway, Jalen Phillips is off the board. I think Matt Judon, Yannick Ngakoue is off the Baltimore Ravens. So that would have been a very good fit. I love Jalen Phillips' athleticism. You look at like other kind of guys. I think Landon Dickerson for the Baltimore Ravens probably wouldn't be that exciting. But building the offensive line, I think Baltimore fans would absolutely understand that as a pick. It's not clearly a need according to the Draft Network. Dickerson tore his ACL in the SEC championship game, but it's not that bad, and he's ready to go. But one of the most well-graded offensive linemen in this draft. Jason Oweh from Penn State is an athletic marvel. Just his measurements are outstanding. But the fact that this guy fell here to the Baltimore Ravens is a crime, and I'm upset the Eagles didn't trade up to get him. And the guy I'm talking about here is Terrace Marshall. Terrace Marshall to the Baltimore Ravens is locked in. This guy's stock has been rising and rising and rising. His 40 was a 4.38. He's got elite speed. He's a big play guy. That's something the Baltimore Ravens need more of in their passing game. You look at the weaknesses of the Baltimore Ravens last year. I think Terrace Marshall is exactly what the doctor ordered, and we are going to make that selection. Terrace Marshall to the Baltimore Ravens, and that means the Saints. Oh, what do we got going on? There we go. Saints are on the board here, and that is Shane.
That's me. So in a scenario that I fully expected to happen last year in the virtual draft that didn't, my internet just died, and I don't even know what happened for the last 2 picks. So I sprinted to the car and got my hotspot that I use when I travel for work and ran in here and powered it up. So give me a second to catch my breath here. So it was Phillips and Marshall, the last 2 gone. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. I fully expected this to be something like Dave Gettleman had happened to him last year in the draft, but okay. So the Saints are on the clock.
You sound like the Eagles scouting team right now.
Yeah. So the Saints could go a lot of ways with this pick. They had to cut Emmanuel Sanders and Janoris Jenkins because of their cap situations. They've got holes at cornerback and wide receiver. I think they would have heavily considered Terrace Marshall. In fact, I had him written down as a hopeful pick here, but he just goes off the board, so that's out of the picture. Cameron Jordan is on the wrong side of 30, so Jalen Phillips would have been a good pick for them here, but he's gone as well. Demario Davis at linebacker, he's 32, so I think you could see a linebacker here, like Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. You could maybe see a cornerback. And, of the 2 positions, I just think corner is a bigger need for them right now. And so they're going to take cornerback Eric Stokes out of Georgia.
Nice. All right. That means the Green Bay Packers are on the clock, and that is Rob.
So Green Bay was a little upset to see Terrace Marshall. At least Aaron Rodgers was upset to see Terrace Marshall go. Every year we think Green Bay is going to take another wide receiver. They don't. This might have been the year, though, if Terrace Marshall would have fallen. But unless are we at the top of our list here, or can the list go up there, Dibes?
Yeah, my bad. Sorry about that.
All right, just making sure. So, listen, the Green Bay's defense over the last few years has been a struggle, and a lot of it is that interior defensive line. And in this year's draft, people are talking about it's the number 1 guy, and then everybody else is way down the list. And this guy kind of, after his playoff run in the college football playoffs this year, really started to get a lot of looks going forward. So I'm going to say the Green Bay Packers go down to Alabama, and they take Christian Barmore, defensive tackle, to try and solidify that front a little bit for themselves.
All right, Barmore is off the board, which means Bills. Mark, you're on the clock.
Yeah, I just wanted to say about that Terrace Marshall thing, since I'm a low-key I root for the Ravens because of Lamar Jackson fan. I think that Terrace Marshall would be the perfect fit for Baltimore and also for Buffalo here. That would be someone I would love to take. But since he's off the board, I'm going to go away from wide receiver, even though I would take either of the Moores would be a great fit here for Buffalo as people that could go deep for Josh Allen, which is obviously what they want to do in that offense. And I believe that they lost John Brown. So I do think that receiver is a need for Buffalo. But I'm going to go with an edge rusher, and I'm going to go with Aziz Ogilari out of Georgia. He's someone who's played D-end. He's someone who's played outside linebacker. He's good against the run. He had 8.5 sacks. He had a huge sack in their bowl game to clinch the game against Cincinnati. I think he's a really solid player who would go a long way in shoring up Buffalo's front seven and their pass rush against people like Patrick Mahomes, which we saw was so important in the Super Bowl. So if Buffalo wants to compete with Kansas City, the way to do that is to get after Patrick Mahomes.
All right. And that means I am on the clock. And that was a really good segue, Mark. That was a perfect segue for exactly where I'm heading here with the Kansas City Chiefs. You look at the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes pressured 31 of his 56 dropbacks, according to PFF. He was hit 9 times, sacked 3 times, threw 2 interceptions. It was the only time all season which Mahomes was pressured in over half of his dropbacks. Clearly, the focus of the Kansas City Chiefs is addressing the offensive line, and I think they're pretty happy that a guy from Notre Dame fell here for the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm talking about Liam Eichenberg. I think this is a home run pick for the Kansas City Chiefs. Left tackle is still a major problem for the Chiefs here. Eichenberg at 31, I think, makes a complete ton of sense. This guy is a beast, 6'6", 306 pounds, wingspan of 79 3/8 inches. He's got a huge frame. He's got the ability to keep the quarterback clean, and he's definitely got starter outside tackle potential next year and moving forward. So Eichenberg protecting Patrick Mahomes, I think, is a home run pick there. It might be a little bit of a reach. It might not be a sexy pick, but Chiefs fans, I think, are going to be understanding this pick completely in terms of keeping Mahomes healthy. So did we do it? Did we do it, guys?
One more.
Oh, the Bucks. Who's up with the Bucks?
Okay. So the Bucks brought back every starter from a Super Bowl champion team, which is just insane. So I mean, what do? You're going to look at like taking the best player available. They could use an upgrade at wide receiver 3. They could use an upgrade in the trenches. Particularly, Christian Barmore would be a guy that they would probably really like. They'd probably like Najee Harris too, but they brought Leonard Fournette back. 1-year deal, but how much longer is Brady going to string this along? And so as you sit here and look at the board, this is truly a team that's in the position to take the best player available. And I think that's probably at this point Kwity Paye. He gives them an upgrade, or not an upgrade. He gives them more at the edge position. Todd Bowles likes to do some crazy things with his sub packages. He'll put linebackers with a hand in the dirt. He mixes things up. Paye is going to be a part of that rotation, and he's going to be able to contribute for them day one. Now we did it.
We did it, guys. That is our first round mock draft, the final first round mock draft. My goodness, man, that was a ton of fun. Should we do like quick grades, like surprise, like who had the best draft, all that? Should we do that? Like quick thoughts? What do you guys think?
We could even go through some of the guys that didn't go that we were surprised about too.
Sure. I don't know how to see that on here, but
yeah.
Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah not going in the first round. That's one that would be surprising to me. I think that there's a chance that he will even go before Zaven Collins. So I think if he falls to the second rounds, there'd be a bunch of teams trying to trade up to 33 to go get him at the top of the second.
Yeah.
I also think it's surprising that a running back did not go in the first round. I fully expect Najee Harris to go in that first round, but the two biggest landing spots for him are the Steelers, where I went offensive line, and then probably the Bucks. And to be honest, the Bucks would take him, but if Paye is there, he's slid so far. Like, how can you not take that with the holes?
Right.
I think my bad.
No, go ahead.
I think Owusu-Koramoah is going to go in like an actual mock. I would put him at 17 to the Raiders. Mike Mayock and Gruden love Notre Dame guys. Mayock was the commentator for Notre Dame for a long time. I think Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is the exact type of guy that they would take, just like the safety they took last year, who I'm blanking on the name of, who is just a gamer and a leader, and someone who goes to the ball and makes plays on the ball. And I think Owusu-Koramoah is going to go 17. So that's someone that I definitely would expect to go in the first round. But I'm happy we didn't take a running back in the first round. I'm anti-running back in the first round. So I'm happy to see that. I think Jason Owa is another guy out of Penn State who's been rising, who I could definitely see going first. Yeah,
that's the other. Jason Owa is 4.36 40-yard dash, 39.5-inch vertical. Per Pro Football Focus, he had the highest run stop rate among edge defenders in 2020 at 13%. That's the guy I was thinking about there at the back of the first round. I totally see him being that sexy guy that teams are going to want to jump up and get. Landon Dickerson, I think, is a really strong name there in the top of the second round. You look at his Pro Football Focus grade. Until injury, it was a 91.3. So anyone looking to really rebuild their offensive line, Leonard Dickerson would be a great pick there at the top of the second round. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to mention a couple picks that I liked a lot. I thought Rob was absolutely right with everything he said about Penei Sewell at 5 to Cincinnati. I think that's the pick that they have to make. I think I love what I did with the Dolphins. Obviously, I think Jamar Chase 7 to the Lions is a great value. I think J.C. Horn, with how everything fell for the Eagles, with all the receivers being off the board, Surtain being off the board, Sewell and Slater being off the board, I think J.C. Horn would probably be the correct pick at that point. So I wouldn't even want to move back if that were the case. So I think Trevon Moehrig is a pick I love to make for Tennessee. I thought Liam Eichenberg to Kansas City was a perfect fit. And that's something I have in my actual mock draft. So I think that's a pick that makes a lot of sense. And I already said Terrace Marshall, 27 to Baltimore, is something that I have had for like 2 months that I just desperately want to come to fruition.
Eagles fans would be absolutely flipping out of this if this actually happened, because you have Jamar Chase at number 7, and then you have Jalen Waddle at number 11. I think Eagles fans would be absolutely going crazy in this draft that they missed out on a legit playmaker, outside playmaker at wide receiver. Any other thoughts before we do plugs and wrap it up? Good?
Nope, I don't think so.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. All right. Lead us off, Mark. Where can we find you? What do you got going on, dude?
You can follow me at Mark Henry Jr. _ and follow the Tough Cover Podcast at Tough Cover Pod. We haven't had one in a few days because I've been on the Daily Dose, just giving out my gambling picks there. But I do believe we will have one tomorrow. I'm not sure when. It might be a morning edition because I know there's a lot of day games. But you can check that out at Tough Cover Pod or at Mark Henry Jr. _ on Twitter.
Rob Shade.
All right. You can follow me on Twitter at @halfandhalf_TPL. Follow all my Eagles stuff at the Painted Lines. I just put out an article last night with all the negativity around the Eagles, 6 reasons you can be excited about the 2021 season. Between now and the draft, I'm going to be pumping out my final written mock. I'm going to do my absolute favorite post of the year, a mock draft, which I'll do next week, where I take like Kuiper's final mock draft and I just make fun of all the picks and the teams. And it's one of my favorite things I do, getting to roast every team in the NFL. So really looking forward to that. I'm going to kick off a Football 101 series with the first article talking about how teams evaluate prospects and why they value guys so differently. And then I'll have full write-ups for each day of the draft too. So I'm going to have like 7 articles dropping in the next 10 days. So stay tuned on the Bird app and I'll tweet out everything when it goes live.
We have a comment. Matthew Walsh says, Howie better stay at 12 or I'll flip out. You never know. You never know. I think money is on them staying at 12. Rob, what's going on, man?
You can find me at Philly _Madness. I can promise you that Twitter handle should be a very fun follow a week from Thursday, regardless of what happens. But I tell you now that if Pick 6 comes up, and one of either Jamar Chase or Kyle Pitts or both are sitting there, I may be subtweeting the Eagles for 3 hours straight until they block my account, because the infuriating feeling that I will have in that moment will be only second to hearing Jalen Hurts' name get called last year in the second round. That's where I'm at. So it should be a lot of fun. Be hopping on here, doing some things with dives. Not only about the Eagles, but maybe some Sixers things coming your way as we near the playoffs. By the way, Sixers fans, chill the hell out. No one was beating Steph Curry last night. Just understand that. So follow Philly _Madness. Make sure you're following TPL, and that's where you'll catch me.
Yeah, man. Make sure you check us out at thepaintlines.com. Shane and myself have tons of scouting reports over there on draft targets, draft prospects, you name it. If you're an Eagles fan and you're still watching this show, we've done the perfect mock draft. We've done the no trade mock draft. We've done the worst case scenario mock draft. I think we've done 9 mock drafts with themes. So, they're all there. Hope you enjoy them. This is a ton of fun. Guys, I can't believe we're almost a week away from the NFL draft. Rob, doom and gloom, man. 1 week till nightmares. God damn.
I have zero faith, guys. I have zero faith, which maybe is the way I need to do it. Because every year I get all amped up, and then I got to go in there just thinking like nothing good will happen, so that I can at least be somewhat happy going to bed on Thursday night. And drunk.
Last comment. Yeah, we'll all be drunk. Last comment is we'll surely be doing a watch party with the NFL draft. It's going to be a ton of fun. Even if you're not an Eagles fan, we're going to be reacting to all the picks, grading all the picks. If you are an Eagles fan, expect a ton of content coming out within the next 2 weeks. It's going to be pretty obnoxious because this is my baby. This is Christmas Day, literally almost a week away. There's nothing better than the NFL draft. It's like NFL draft, NBA draft. Those are my babies. So, guys, thank you everyone for watching. Go follow my man Rob on Twitter at Philly_Madness. He is Shane on Twitter at @halfandhalf_TPL. And that is Mark Henry Jr. at Mark Henry Jr. _. Check out the Tough Cover podcast. If you want to win some money, who doesn't want to freaking win some money all day, every day? Thank you guys for watching. Stay awesome.